Hey everybody, this is Keisha from Keisha and Company. I am so honored that you are allowing me to be a part of your day. I want you to know that your time as a caterpillar has expired. Your wings are ready, and we are going to empower you to live your best life now.
Hi, and welcome to Keisha and Company. Listen, I'm excited today. I am so excited. To my left, I have very important people to me in my life. They are my pastors, my covering, and they are experts by marriage on this topic we're about to discuss today. We're going to be talking about red flags and why we ignore them in relationships. So I'm excited about that. And to my right, well, I'm going to put myself in this category too, because I need to talk about some red flags today. So what I want to do, well, how are you all? I'm sorry. You all doing okay?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Doing great.
Wonderful. Now, can we just dive in there?
All right.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Let's do it.
Go ahead.
I wanted to look up the definition of what a red flag was. And it says a red flag, very simple, is a warning of danger or a problem. So I think we all as people can attest to the fact that we all have pretty much ignored a stop sign while you're driving. You just go right through it and you didn't even realize you saw it, or maybe you saw it and you didn't care and you kept on moving. So I want to talk about those red flags in relationships. Have we all had those, right?
All the time.
All the time. Well, really? Well, since you had them all the time, tell me one that you've had, that you've ignored.
The one that I've ignored.
Yes.
A guy always talking down at another female.
Mm.
I've always ignored that.
So you've had men constantly downgrade you or belittle
Not me,
you?
but
Oh, okay.
other females.
Okay. Well, what is one you personally dealt with
Um,
that you may have ignored and you saw it happening and you continue with the relationship anyway, and then you said, you know what? I should have known that was going to happen. I seen it in the beginning.
well,
Okay, we're gonna come back to you.
Please
Yeah,
do.
you think of one. I know you have a few.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I definitely do. So I think one of my most past recent relationships is a relationship that moves too fast. Sometimes when you see a relationship that moves too fast, in the moment you're in love,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
later on you may think it's lust.
Right.
And that's kind of like after the fact. A lot of times we don't see the red flags because the relationship is going good.
Yeah.
The relationship is in its, fair stages, and you don't really have anything that's going on, but you start to see a lot of the things that kind of make you realize, okay, here's some red flags, and she's making herself available to certain men. Especially when you go out, you're with a young lady, and it could be, vice versa. But for me, in my case, most of the time, when you're out, you're with a young lady, and she kind of makes herself available for other men to notice her. That's kind of a
As
big
in
red
clothing
flag.
or personality wise or
It,
all
it,
of that.
it could be a different it could be all of that.
Right,
For
right.
me personally, it's been kind of the clothing and most the recent relationship that I had where she was a lady who had a really great shape. It was kind of like, hey, I can flaunt myself
Okay.
because I had it. And that's kind of like a red flag for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think about that red flag, Pastor Charles? Should I call you Pastor?
Whatever you feel comfortable
Okay,
with.
all right. I don't want to get in trouble, so he's pastor. Okay. What do you think about that? A woman making herself readily available to other men when she's in a relationship?
Making herself readily, well, see, you've got to understand there are some things that take place in your subconscious that you're living in your consciousness, meaning things that have happened to you in the past and you depress them or you suppress them until there's an opportunity for you to expose them and you live them out. So we don't understand what are some of the things that contribute to an individual's behavior
Right.
and why they do what they do. That's one of the reasons why we have the tendency to overlook red flags, is because we don't necessarily understand the person that we're with until we spend some time with them.
That's true.
And then as time proceeds and go on, you start to learn more and more about a person. That's why they have established dating. Dating gives you time to learn a person. But the challenge we have is that we don't want to date.
Yeah.
We want to go right into a relationship.
That's
Wow.
right.
Wow. So when you noticed that red flag, did you stay? Yes or no? Just one?
I stayed.
Okay.
I
Why
stayed.
did he stay?
Well, men's motives are different than women.
Oh, really?
Keep in mind.
Tell all the women out there. We want to know.
Right. Well, let me first make a disclaimer. I have no doctoral degrees in relationship, but I do have close to 60 years of experience. I'm not one that always say experience is the best teacher. I believe that obedience is the best teacher. But we do learn from our experiences. Men have a different psychological makeup, and men are more goal oriented. Men are first attracted by what they see. And so in his case, based upon my experience and analysis, you were attracted by what you see. You did not take the time to learn everything else about the person.
Right.
As time goes on and as time passes, little bits and pieces begin to come out. It's different for a woman. Women have what God has given them, something special. It's called intuitive. And intuition. They just feel it in their belly. But men are more physical. Men are more first attracted to you physically,
Right.
before they're attracted to you spiritually. So what the only thing we're looking at is that 36, 24, 36. And then we start building around that frame.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's how we all think.
Well, it's the nature of who we are.
I gotta agree with him. I
Yeah.
mean, he's right.
Okay, well, I want the ladies to answer this because for me, there are red flags. But should it not be someone that can help you? Shouldn't they be able to understand you at some times and help you? You get what I'm saying? Help you get through that. Let's take his example. With her, could he had helped her, taught her in a sense to not be that woman because maybe that's something she's always grown up with. You guys understand what I'm saying? Is it okay at sometimes to ignore a red flag if we want to help them to try to push through to make them that better person?
Yes, because we've been married for a very long time.
How long?
And we've been married going on probably approaching 40 years.
Wow.
And I know there was red flags with he and I, but what happens is if you love someone, you care about that person, and you know that this person is a person that you want to spend some time with and you want to get to know them, you're going to kind of look past those red flags. And you're going to try to get to know them. You're going to try to work with them. Say, hey, honey, I know you got a beautiful shape. You're gorgeous to me. I love you for who you are, but I'd like for you to tone down a little bit of what you're wearing.
Right.
And if she loves him and she wants to make this work, that's something maybe somebody never told her. Don't forget, we're going back to what Pastor Ramey said. That's how she was brought up. That's what she saw the women in her family do.
Right.
And so with her husband or her fiance or whoever the person that she's involved with is beginning to really show some true love and concern about her.
Yes.
We as women are by nature, because we're nurturers and we're aimed to please. We want family, so we're aimed to please.
Right.
And so we're going to if my boo or my husband or whoever,
your babe,
my babe, if he really wants me, okay. So when honey, I would say, okay, this is all I know how to dress.
Right.
I don't mean to. This is just who I am.
Yeah.
What would you suggest?
Right.
Now I know Pastor Ramey used to go out. Not that I used to really dress provocative, but he would sometimes, even to this very day, he buys things for me because there's certain things he likes, especially for different events.
Right.
He wants to see me dressed.
Right.
And I don't take that. I love it because it keeps me from having to go to the store and think about what to wear.
Absolutely.
So I think if she knows that this man is really, really concerned about her and loves her, and he's not just being jealous, or anything like that, but he's really, this because you're who I want to be with.
Yeah. The men, I don't even hear them breathing. Do you not agree with what First Lady Ramey just said?
I definitely agree. I think one of the things is that, when we see red flags, especially if we're in a relationship going forward, if it's a relationship that we truly want,
absolutely,
we can establish a conversation and say, okay, hey, we can work with this, and then she explain, hey, if she really loves him, then she'll listen. And it's vice versa. It's not always men. Sometimes men can have a certain appearance about themselves.
Absolutely.
And so women can say, hey, I like the way that you go out, but maybe you're making yourself too available to women,
Right.
and you're not intentionally
Right,
doing it, but
right.
maybe you can just scale it down just a
Right,
bit.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a transparent moment for us three,
Okay.
because we're not married, right?
No.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They are. Are we still ignoring red flags?
I'm not.
Sometimes.
You're not?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes everything feels so good. I'd be like,
Yeah.
do I really want to ruin this
Yeah.
with that?
But does it
one
really
little-
feel good?
Yeah, sometimes it do.
Yeah.
For that moment, right?
For that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we have to look at future, and I'm talking to myself too, because there are a lot of red flags that I just let go. But that's because, honest moment here, I feel like I can help them. I feel like I can draw that potential out. I feel like I can maybe mold them.
Okay, and let me just help you on that too.
Help me.
Because we've got to go into a relationship, any relationship, knowing that we all are sinners. We all
Yes.
coming in with baggage.
Right.
We all have so much, that we have learned that might have been good and not good.
Right.
Not good and not, bad and not good. So we have to keep that in mind, first of all. And second of all, know that you can't do the change.
Right.
And I'm talking to single people out there who are in
Uh-huh.
relationships. Don't ever go into a relationship. It's false. Don't ever go into a relationship thinking, okay, I'm gonna get him and I'm gonna change him.
Yes.
It's not your job. It's not your job. And we all have been we all have thought that. I mean, I've been married for a long time, and
Right.
I'm so busy praying for him. But the whole thing is work on you too.
Right.
Because there's could be some things in you that's causing the
That's right.
situation.
That's true.
Right.
You always want to place the blame on someone else.
Yes.
But God needs you to work on you. And there's nothing wrong. Keep praying.
Right.
Because if you want this relationship to last, you want this marriage to last, or whatever it is, you do have to keep praying for that person. But be working on
Yes,
you, because there's
yes.
some things in you that need some help.
Right.
Instead of always, and I think what happens is with women, we're so busy blaming the man for everything.
All
I'm
the
guilty
time.
of it. I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
But I've learned to turn it on me and say, okay, what am I doing?
Yes. Yes.
What am
is
I
my
doing?
part in
What
this?
is my part
Right,
in this?
right.
Yes. Yes.
See, we always ask that question when the relationship is already, ended.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true. That's true. What did I do?
What did
Right.
I do? What could I do
Yes.
to make this better?
Right.
That's when we always
Right.
ask the question.
Right. Well, Pastor Raymond, when do we stop ignoring the red flag and say, you know what, that's it. I'm not going to continue this relationship.
Well, once again, I challenge the concept of red flags, because in the beginning
That's true.
the person that you've attracted.
Yeah.
It was something about that person that caught your attention.
Right.
And there's a lot of times you can almost size up a person before you even get to know them. So it's not a matter of the red flags, it's a matter of what you're attracted to.
That's good.
So we need to take some self-inventory at times and look at why we are
Wow.
drawing
Yes.
into our life. It's the laws of physics. It's natural for us, we're going to attract who we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever goes out
Man.
is going to come back.
That is so true.
So we have to, at times, it's not necessarily the red flags that
Yes.
are there.
Right.
We might want to look at what Michael Jackson says, the man in the mirror.
Wow.
Right.
And also too, first of all, coming from a woman's point of view too, is that we as women, of course, we're all out here looking for a man. We want a husband and all that good stuff. But where are you looking?
Yeah.
Or if you're in the bars, if you're in the discos, that's what you're going to attract.
Yeah.
If you're out there wearing all kinds of clothes where everybody can see you, he's not going to take you home to mom.
Yeah.
Because if you're out here exposing yourself the way you are, he's like, hey, if she's doing it for me, she'll do it for anybody else.
Right.
So we've got to really be mindful as women to really, what am I, like Pastor Remy said, I got to be mindful of what am I attracting.
Yes.
Do I want a man who's going to love me, a man who's going to appreciate me, a man who's going to love my family? You may not find him in the bar.
Right.
Because
right.
he's a partier. He wants to be out
Right.
here.
I agree
Right,
with that. And
right.
then too, I guess
Right.
for me, in my perspective, is I start to ask questions. Should I start looking at a woman's mentality and look at her mindset?
Yes.
Because if the only thing, first of all, is the physical attraction that we see, first of all, we don't know anything about this woman's mindset.
Right,
We don't know her
right,
family's
right,
background. We don't know her
right.
spirituality side.
Wow.
So it's like if we are attracted to the physical features of a woman, then if she is a different way that we don't want to bring home to mom, how can we change that?
Wow.
And then that starts to say, okay, here's some red flags. So I'm attracted to this woman physically, and I really like her, but it's her mind that turns me off.
Wow. That was heavy.
Yeah.
So heavy, we got to take a commercial break.
Oh.
Do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us back here at Keisha and Company, and today we are talking about red flags and why we ignore them in relationships. Before we left, we had a very great statement that Charles made, and I believe you wanted to answer that statement or say something regarding it.
I do. I think it was, you were talking about how do you get past the physical
Right.
and try to get to know them intellectually and all. And I think like we can go back to what Pastor Rainey said about dating. That's where
Yes.
dating comes in, because by nature men are attracted to what they see first,
Right.
because you all are visual, you're
Right,
attracted.
right.
So I think if even though the attraction may be because of the physical that you see, I think to really get to know them before taking them home to mom and introducing them to your family and all that great stuff, date them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why we have dating.
Right.
We're I love Steve Harvey's 90-day rule. I love that. I mean, I'm really abstinence until you get married, because in the spiritual realm. But I love the fact that you need to get to know each
Absolutely.
other, ladies. Let the men date you. Let them treat you well. Let them romanticize you. And really, and then another thing that I was always taught growing up was that when you start going around the family, see how he treats his mother.
Yeah.
See how he treats his sisters and his aunts. That's going to tell you how he treats you.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Really, I mean, you ask, say, I'd
Yeah.
like to one day go
Yeah.
over and meet your mom, or meet your sister or whatever, and see how well. And I watched that with my husband. He loved his grandmother who raised him.
Yeah.
He even loved his mother, who he didn't have the same type of relationship, but he adored his sister and his. And I watched and I saw that, and I said, well, if he loves and cares about his mother and grandmother and the women in his family, this is how he's
Wow.
going to treat me.
Yeah,
Right.
amazing
I like that.
answer. I want to introduce two more panelists that I have on the show. They also used to ignore red flags, everybody. We have Miss Sheila Miller on the left of me and Sandy that's on the right of me. I want to start with both of you all.
Okay.
We heard some red flags from the others. What are some red flags that you both ignored?
I can say that one red flag that I ignored in my most recent relationship was, I guess, and he was my husband at the time, becoming a bit standoffish, kind of going into his own
Distant.
thing, being very distant. And I definitely ignored that because this is my husband,
Right.
we're going to work this out, I'm going to pray for him, and I'm going to figure out what's going on. Me wanting to change him, you wanting
Right.
to handle
Absolutely.
everything, so that was definitely a big thing that I ignored.
Right.
Thinking that, oh yeah, we're gonna be together forever. It's not gonna be any
Oh,
problems
absolutely.
at all.
Yeah,
So-
white
Woo!
the house with the white picket fence.
Oh,
we're gonna
yes.
be good.
That
We're
was
good.
us.
One
Oh,
and a half
yes.
child. You know what?
So-
Before I let you answer, Sheila, Sandy said something that's important. She said, "I'm gonna pray for him." First of all, after you prayed for him, did that relationship work out?
No.
Okay, so this is where I want to go, Pastor Rainey. What do you do after you prayed so hard and so long and it doesn't work?
Well, here's the question I like to throw back at you.
Okay.
When did you identify there was a problem?
Okay, hold on. You talking to Sandy, right?
But you looking at me.
Answer no questions. Sandy, when did you identify there was a problem?
I mean, are you saying like as in time, like how long were we together before I
Right.
realized?
Right. When did you identify? How many years did it go? How much time has elapsed before you identified, or rather, let me use another word, before you were concerned that there was a problem?
Probably a couple years.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Then you knew in enough time that there's a problem that existed.
Yes.
So how long did you stay in the relationship after you identified the problem?
Probably almost another 2 years.
All right. See, here's the challenge we have. We know there's a problem, but we don't do nothing about the problem.
Right.
Instead, we let the problem fester.
Yes.
And I look at things this way. If your left hand offended, cut it off. Because why do you want to spend so much valuable time on a person if you knew in earlier stages that you had some concerns then. You're doing yourself and that other person a disadvantage. And so my concern or my quandary or my problem that exists in me is that why do you go an extra 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 10 years of wasted time? Well, let's not look at it wasted. You've gotten something out of it. Why would you go so long in a relationship and you know you have a concern that you can't work out? So you should have dealt with the concern and problem right then instead of wasting or spending so much valuable time.
Right.
Time is precious.
Right. And let me clarify. He's not saying divorce. He's saying deal with the problem.
No,
because
I'm
when
saying,
you're in,
I'm
hold
saying
on,
this,
wait, I don't know what he's
sweetheart.
saying. Let me see what he's
I'm
saying.
saying this. That's why I was trying to be
Hold on.
spiritual, but now you're gonna make me natural. The left-handed Fendi, you gotta cut it off.
See, I was trying to save this.
Now, I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with that at
But,
all.
well, and I know First Lady, you probably look at this the same way, and all the women probably, because when you're married and you're saved,
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to just cut the right hand
No,
off.
Exactly.
no.
You want to bandage that thing up and put
Yes.
some ointment on it,
Well, see,
and,
and
you know.
I disagree to agree, and I'm gonna tell you why.
little bit.
Because
A
the
little
fact is, all the years that he and I have been married,
Right.
we've had a lot of
Yes.
ups and downs. I tell couples, when you get married, buckle up.
That's right.
This is a roller coaster ride. You're gonna go up and down like life. There's gonna be problems, red flags in and out. When the children come, bills. I mean, there's always a lot of red flags. So I think, and I don't know if Pastor Randy's trying to say this, I don't think he's saying get rid of them unless it's something that's a life and death situation. Because in that case, honey, all the red flags I know that I have, I'm sure displayed. You know, you didn't cut my hand, you didn't cut me off.
Why did
No,
you stay
see,
with the
let
red
me tell you
flag?
something. She didn't have no red flags. She had some concerns.
Okay.
When
All
you
right.
Red
That's
flag
good, that's good.
is when
I like
you
that.
worry
Right, right.
and do
Yeah.
nothing about it.
Yeah.
A concern is that you got an issue and you can solve that issue.
And
She
the-
knew from the beginning that when we first got in there, we had some concerns and issues that we can both solve. But the red flag issue, the red flag problem is that it doesn't go away. And you know in the beginning
understand
that
that now.
you
Right.
can't,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
cannot solve
Yeah.
this problem.
Yes,
And only
I
God
understand.
can do
And
it.
there is
I
a
understand
difference.
Right,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
that I've been through that, I know the difference. At first I
Yes.
felt that maybe it was just a concern. You know, he was more of a talker, not a doer. Big talker. So I felt, okay, yeah, we can get through this. We would sit down and talk about things. And he's like, oh yeah, we're good, you know. And now I know that big difference
Wow.
between that.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with a woman, it's not easy to just cut off because women, when they
Yeah,
get
when
attached
you love.
It's an
emotionally,
emotional thing, yes.
it's so hard to
Yeah.
just cut
Yeah.
them off.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say on that statement
Really?
too.
Yeah.
I mean, listening to what she's saying, women love harder, you know, a lot harder than what men do. And sometimes it's not as hard as a woman to cut a man off
No,
versus what a
That's
man.
so
Men,
hard.
you know, we can mask our emotions very easily.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and inside, you know, we can go to ourselves, you know, and we can
Yeah.
soak and sob, but we can mask our emotions because it's easy for us. And for women, sometimes it's very, very hard for
That's
them
true.
That
to
takes
let
forever.
go.
It does.
And even when they do let go, it's very tough for them to, even a year, 2 years
Move
down
forward.
the line, allow another
Right.
man to come in their life, and then they're going to think, what happened to me before is
It's
going to
gonna
happen
happen
again.
again.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
how can I
Well,
allow another man to come into my life when I've had these issues, and what new man is going to show me that the last man or the previous man were different?
Wow.
But you also have to consider the fact that for women,
Mhm.
and I'm going to keep it PG,
Keep it PG.
but we have, I'm sorry, for women, we have a connection on a more intimate
Absolutely.
level.
Exactly.
And when we get to that level, it makes other things seems like I'm just concerned about it when it really is
A red flag.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
So that changes what's going on, and it changes the mixture because we don't, let's just say, have tea
Mhm.
with everyone.
Yes.
It's personal. It's more, this is my everything. I cannot give you any more than this in some cases, and some people may be on that level. So our key is different. So you might not notice that red flag. You may think of it as a concern when it actually is not only a red flag but a big old stop sign.
Yes.
As I
And
said-
that's when you need to move into, and I'm a good one for counseling. you should go to marriage counseling. I tried marriage counseling, but I found that I was the only one going. So therefore, that changed the whole atmosphere.
Yes.
Big time.
Wow.
So
As
it's that
I
personal
said
level there.
earlier, what you just said, when everything feels good in the moment,
Mhm,
we
mhm.
just ignore everything else.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
We women do.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Pastor Amy, since you got it all together,
No, I'm not gonna say that.
give us some advice, the single,
Mhm.
and you too, First Lady, the single people here on the panel, where we go from here. Even if we are in a relationship, we're not married
We're
yet.
single still.
Right. Where do we go from here with the red flags and the concern?
Mhm.
How do we approach a relationship? How do we approach a successful relationship to get the proposal and to get to the I do's?
Well, you have to really be able to identify with yourself.
Right.
I think the first thing, and you got to keep this in mind too, a lot of things become more relevant to us as we become older.
Yes.
When you're young, you have a certain mental propensity, you have a certain mindset, as opposed to when you get in your 30s, and when you get in your 40s, and when you get in your 50s.
Thank you.
Your desires
Yes.
begin to change.
Right. Right.
And so God says that He'll give you the desires of your heart.
Yes.
But your heart continues to change as you mature.
That's good.
So you can't go into your 30s thinking like you're in your 20s.
Right.
In fact, you can't go into your 40s thinking and dressing like you in your 30s.
Yes.
Because as men grow older, they mature as well. And you have to understand something. I'll give you something for the single women. Men are made in the image of God. And when Moses asked God, who do I tell the people you are? God says, I am.
Yes.
Now you must understand what God was saying. God was saying, I've got an ego. And since men are made in the image of God, they got an ego. So when you stroke the ego, you got the man.
Yeah.
But when you stop stroking the ego, that's when men pull away.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Because now you can't feed into my ego. It's no more physical. Because if you can't stroke my ego and tantalize my ego and make me feel good about myself, then I have to now say I'm wide open. And that's when the devil creeps in.
Wow.
So as far as a single woman, first of all, you don't want to give it, listen, you got all the power, don't give it away.
Exactly. That's true.
The 90-day rule, I
cookie
got
jar.
issues with the 90-day rule. I got issues, and I love Steve Harvey's success. But I'm concerned about any man that took 4 and 5 times to figure it out. It only took me once to figure it out. And I understand we live and we make errors and mistakes. But the fact of the matter is that here's what the Bible says. The Bible says that Abraham knew his wife. If you take time to know each other, you don't have to continue to make these same mistakes.
That's good.
But when we deny and look past, I'll use your word, the red flag, and we just keep going past the stop sign, we going to eventually do what? Run into an accident.
Wow.
Guess what? Again.
Yes.
And it will be a repeated scenario happening in your life until you can begin to understand, watch this, not just the creation, but understanding the creator.
That's right.
And when you understand the creator, then you'll be able to identify the creation. And you'll be able to now be able to choose. Just because the man find you, man finds a wife, finds her, just because he found you, that don't mean God sent him to you.
That's right. That's right.
So you have to first ask God, is this the one that fits the desires of my heart? Because you got to understand something. They want to put aside the physical, but God made us physical. He gave us feelings. He knew everything. In fact, God made us just the way He is. That's why when you're thinking about marriage, it's just like the church. It's the image of the church when it comes to a husband and a wife. All right, so God created it that way. Our relationship with Him is like a marriage. Now check this out. God can't come in until you open up and let Him in. I'm going to keep it G.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to keep it G.
I understand that.
I'm going to keep it G.
Wow.
So the relationship between a man and a wife, it does not consummate until you open up
That's right.
and let him in.
That's good.
And if you don't open up and let him in, there's no consummation.
Wow.
And if he takes it, then there's no relation. It's called rape. But when you open up voluntarily and say, come in, then you now have consummated a relationship, but he's got to first know you.
Wow.
And you have to first know the Creator.
That's
In
your
order to know the creation.
Yes. That's your boo. That's your boo talking.
Disclaimer, I do not have a doctoral degree. I
For the
haven't
second
written a book.
time. Awesome. If you could give us just 30 seconds of encouragement or what you feel like is an important tip for single ladies and this gentleman behind me, what would you say?
I would just say first, I like what Pastor Remy said. I always tell women to get to know the Creator
Yes.
of the creation. You're looking for a man, you want a husband, but get to know him first, who created that man that's out there for you. When you have a relationship with God, you got to put him first.
Absolutely.
You have a relationship with God. I think when you have a relationship with God and you can really spend time with him, I believe he will lead you and guide you to what's best for you. The man that finds good, it might not always be the man that God sent to you, but however, through your prayer, through your walk, through you constantly having a relationship with him, he's going to show you if this person is the right person for you.
Absolutely.
First and second, another thing I want to say to the single ladies is that don't be so quick because he's nice looking, he got a nice car, and might even have a great job. But don't be so quick to jump on so fast.
Yes.
Okay? I think that's the mistake we all make, as women, because we're looking for a good man in our life. But don't be so quick to the first thing coming that's good looking. Don't be so quick.
Wow.
Just take time. Get to know him. Date him a little bit. See what this man is like. How does he treat his family? How does he treat you? Get to know him and just, like I said, just be in prayer and ask God, show me, is this the person?
Wow.
He will do it.
Yes.
He will do it.
I need all of y'all to come back because I want to see where y'all going to be the next time. If y'all have ignored more red flags or concerns, I want you guys to come back so we can talk about this again. Did you have one last thought?
I did. I wanted to speak on what you were saying, and not saying that I don't have or haven't had a relationship with Christ, but really just starting to learn my Creator, as you were saying. And that's where I realized that I failed in all my past relationships.
Right.
Because it was like I was searching for this love that I thought I'd never had.
Yeah.
My grandparents raised me, and not taking from my biological mother and father. I love them because I have forgiven them for things that have happened. And I was searching. I found that I was searching for that love that I thought that they didn't have for me.
Wow.
And it was their men.
Yeah.
And and I just couldn't understand what was happening. Why are these men doing this to me? Why can't I keep a relationship? What is happening? And then I realized, what am I doing? God loves me so much, and He's done so many things for me in my life and brought me through so much. And I just had to realize that, and that basically I just felt like a different person after I realized that.
Absolutely.
And it is helping me every day now to heal from everything that I've been through.
And because you're not just focusing on just a man, but you're focusing on yourself.
Yes.
Take care of you, ladies.
Yes.
Take care of you first.
Yes.
And then everything else will fall into place.
Wow.
Yes.
I too had to come to that realization, but that definitely is a different show for a different day. And we will come back with you with that. But I want to thank you guys so much for just being here. Thank you for opening up as a man.
Yes.
Because it's hard to do that.
Yes.
I love that. I love it. Thank you so much.
I loved it too.
Yes. Thank you all so much for joining us here on Keisha and Company. And until next time, we're empowering you to live your best life now.